What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Hanley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. This is June 15th, Thursday, 2023, year of our Lord. I'm going to go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. Make sure you tap into that Tej Hanley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description. If you have not joined the Patreon, that link is in the description also, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I am anticipating the possibility of streaming tonight. I don't know. It depends on what the vibe is, how I feel. I'm not really sure. If y'all not a part of the Patreon and the Bag Chasers, you really need to get inside of the Patreon. Let me share with you my thoughts. First, let me see what the vibe is. I'm curious. What are y'all thoughts? I got on my Apple Watch today. Got the Rolexes over there. Not even really interested in wearing it, and I'm gonna just tell you why. What are y'all feeling today? What are y'all vibes? Like, don't give me the thing that you think that I want to hear. Don't say it just for the sake of the conversation inside of the chat because, you know, that's what you think the expectation is because we always move with positive vibes and good energy here. In general, what are y'all authentically feeling? And then what are y'all going through? Like, is everything good? Is things so-so? Are y'all achieving y'all financial goals through the year? Are things delayed? How are your family treating you? How's your marriages going? Like, honestly, like, are you just okay? Are you feeling down? Do you feel behind? I'm curious as to what you guys think. I just want to know what the vibe is. I'm genuinely curious because I feed off my people, and it's very important for me to understand you guys so that I can know how to pour into you. I don't want to be on this wavelength and then y'all on that wavelength and then we not connecting because, you know, I don't really understand you. Rachel O said you stressed. Chase Classy Beat says I feel amazing. Just got ahead with uploads for next Thursday. Sam the God says he trying to figure it out. Chris says so. Raven says doing well. Let me see what else y'all said. Doing well, going to interview today for a part-time job. Biggest baddest wolf. I don't know what that means. Family is good. Delayed, waiting on contracts to start. Let's see. Waiting on my son to get out of lockdown. Feeling anxious, says Robbie Reed. Working for more money. I'm over here trying to heal. Limited mobility still, says Sarah H. I feel like we at war for ourselves daily, says AWOL. Started a new job, more money, doing what I love, so I'm good, says Look Out Below. Glad to be alive, says Kojak. My vibe is crypto, US dollar, government trying to take it over, but I'm up. So says Larry Walker. Trenton says stress, up and down mentality and up and down mentally and financially, says Social Cis Media. X Bionic says overcoming lust. Feel like we at war. Wife is good. I'm good. Grateful for Jesus' blessings. Trendy Vibe says I'm feeling behind. I know I'm on the right path, but the direction for me. Accounting. Beautiful day. Perfect for paper chasing. Trying to figure it out. Working overtime right now. Going back to the grind. Okay. All right. So I'm glad that you guys have been honest. It's being honest. Even Jeremy Clay. Jeremy Clay says, I'm going to keep it a buck. I've been feeling kind of blah lately. Says, I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm feeling kind of blah lately. Trendy Locks, I hear you. My job fired you last week. Then they reversed their decision. Shit. Life is really good, says AWOL. All right. Let me tell you why I asked that question. Corey says, lost 2 friends this week, lost 8 family friends in last year and the past year alone. I feel you, bro. I feel you. I think the worst day or the worst year of my life was probably 2017. Mike Jones says, honestly, waiting for this divorce to be finalized by the end of this month. But as far as getting the bag, everything is good. Shout out to Mike Jones. I appreciate you for the 20 ball. Raphael, almost debt free. Thank you for the super chats. Let me tell you, shout out to Sherelle, says had a setback. Got a new 2024 truck yesterday. Things are looking up. All right. I think that the worst year of my life was 2017. 2017 was quite possibly the worst year of my life. In 2017, I had so much going on in my life. Things was at a weird space in corporate America. Shout out to the Service USA, says keep the likes above 50%. I appreciate you, big dog. My father had died. I found out that my family had basically owed a bunch of taxes. So I'm the person that it came up to. I had to bury him. So I'm the one that had to pay for everything. It was a very trying year. And because of everything that was going on, because my wife had some people in her family pass away that was very close to her. I don't want to disclose who and things like that. It had put a strain even on our relationship. I mean, me and Rita was just like, it wasn't even that we was clashing. We just didn't even really pay attention to each other because we had so much going on in our lives separately and collectively from a business perspective, people dying, people trading, people doing you dirty and all of that. I would say this year has probably been the best day of my life or the best year, one of the best years of my life. But June has probably been one of the most difficult months of my life. Like if we just gonna keep it 100. And one of the reasons I think that you guys connect with me is because this isn't just a show. This isn't just a show for me. This is us. Right? I feed off of y'all energy in order to be able to bring this show to you every day. Honestly, I genuinely didn't even feel like doing this show today. I told Rita, I said, I think I feel like sitting this one out. Because it was just such a difficult morning. I mean, this morning was probably one of the most difficult mornings that I've had probably since 2017. No lie, no cap. I don't want to go into details because, we can't share everything over the internet, but I would say that this morning has probably been, this month has been a motherfucking month. Real talk. it has been something. And through it all, we here right now having this conversation. And I want you guys to know that I'm with you. No. Listen. I know y'all saying that y'all praying for me, virtual hugs, you sending love and all of that. I don't want you to do that, right? I want you to understand something. The reason why I'm sharing this with you guys today is because I want you to understand that every single person on the face of this earth, whether they famous, whether they rich, whether they poor, whether you watching from the audience or we communicating to you right now having the same conversation, every single person on this earth goes through things. They go through really, really high highs and they go through really, really low lows. And so the important thing that I want you to understand, right, is that I am an example and a reflection of you guys. And so the reason why I live my life like an open book is because it's important for me to live it so that you guys can understand how to get through it. My goal isn't for you guys to look at me as anything more than Anton Daniels, a guy that is a C student that goes through life, overcomes, and then that's the reason why I live my life like an open book. I want you guys to understand that my success, whether it be in my marriage or my finances or corporate America or even here as a content creator on YouTube, has nothing to do with the idea that I'm better than you or that I'm greater or anything like that. It has everything to do with how I respond to the circumstances in which I'm faced with. Contrary to popular belief, despite the fact that I'm on here having a conversation with you does not absolve me from going through life's woes. I got family members that be fucking up. I got people that be close to me that be dying. I have things that happen to me. I take losses all the fucking time. And I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. When I take losses, I take losses. My losses are usually 5 or 6 figures. 5 or 6 figures. I found out today, for example, that it was somebody that basically stole, and this isn't the only thing that's happened this month, but I'll give you a little bit of an example. I found out today there was somebody that basically stole the equivalent of about $35,000 from me. $35,000. That's one thing. And all of the problems do not amount to money or anything like that. It's people that do you dirty. It's people that betray you. It's people that die around you. It's funerals that you have to pay for. All of that type of shit. But the reason that I'm here having this conversation, still pushing through, still having this conversation with you guys today, is because I want you to understand that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond to it. 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it. Everything that you go through is a test to see whether or not you can pass it, because there's bigger things that you're going to have to face that is much similar to it. If you can't handle somebody stealing $500 from you, how can you handle somebody stealing $5,000 from you? How can you handle somebody stealing $10,000 from you? How can you handle somebody stealing $35,000 from you? If you can't handle somebody betraying you that's close to you, how can you handle somebody betraying you in business? If you can't handle going through life circumstances and life changes, if you can't handle getting fired from your job, if you can't handle, no, I didn't get fired from my job, but I'm just using this as an example. If you can't handle life's curveballs, because just as much as we know that good times are going to come, it's going to be an equal amount of bad times and things that you have to overcome that come along with it. And so I'm not feeling the greatest. I am feeling better now that I'm having this conversation with y'all, because I want y'all to understand that we all here together. We all human beings. We all go through shit. We all have feelings. Everybody has emotions. People do things around you. You affected. We're all interconnected with each other, whether you want to believe it or not. We're not robots. So I just want to let you know that if I'm still here with no misses, no days off, No mental fucking health days or anything like that. The way in which I overcome the things that I go through on a daily basis is that I keep on going. I keep working. I keep grinding. I push. I figure that shit out. I recover and I go back to the drawing board, and then I become better the day after that, after the day in which I suffer it. So if you're going through something, you right now, if you're going through something, there's some people that don't even participate in the chat. I get it. I feel you. You just like to observe. You may be listening to it at work. You may be at the workout place. You may be getting your kids together. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you found out something is wrong with you health-wise or whatever like that. Understand, you're not alone. We all are a community. I know that we hold each other accountable. We push each other. But I want you to know that you are loved. You are respected. I adore you. I got your back. I just want you guys to know that y'all not by yourself. We don't live in this big old bubble to where we're completely removed from life circumstances. The only difference is that the key to success is how it is that you respond to it. Don't be depressed. You got people that love you. You got people that you can relate to. Don't feel down because you're going through something. You're going to recover from that, and you're going to be better, 10 times better than the day that you didn't suffer. You're going to look back on that day, and you're going to think that ain't even nothing. It's hard for you to actually see the end outcome because you're going through it at that time, and you're looking down, and all you see is dirt and grime and problems and trouble. But you have to understand that you got to get down into the mud in order to really grow. All right? Know this. Every single day, as long as I have breath in my body, no matter what happens, I am going to continue to push forward because I am going to be the example of what it takes in order to be successful. No matter what it takes, as long as I got breath in my body, I'm going to push forward. And I'm expecting for you to do so also. Feel how you got to feel. If somebody passed away around you, grieve how you got to grieve. But then when you wake up in the morning, I need you to put your big girl pants on. I need you to put your big boy pants on and continue to go forward. The only time that we stop is when we're ready to die. I'm not ready to start dying yet. I'm still ready to keep living. I got a bright future ahead of me. You have a phenomenal network and future ahead of you. And the only thing that we do is we make adjustments. We learn from those lessons. We fail forward and we continue to get up and we go. We go. There is nothing stopping you. No one can stop you. The only thing that they can do is hope to slow you down. But at the end of the day, I got your back. Know that I'm here with you. You are not alone, and we are going to continue to push forward. I will not take a day off. I will not stream. I will not have this conversation with you, and I will not then retreat into what it is that we like to relegate as our safe space, but we really just hiding from the reality of what it is that we need to face. And if you're going to continue to grow, and if you're going to continue to go forward, you're going to have to step up and put your big boy and your big girl pants on, because there's somebody else depending on you in order to be successful. There's somebody else that needs you to go through it so they don't have to. It was people before us that actually had to suffer 10 times more than us in order for us to have the opportunity to be here right now. So although you are going through something, you owe it to me to continue to go forward. Every time that I jump on this live stream and I'm having this conversation with you, you owe it to me to continue to go forward. You don't have the luxury of being able to rest on your laurels and then die tomorrow. You don't get that luxury when you over here with the Millionaire Morning Show. You don't get that luxury as a result of rocking out with me. You don't have the privilege to be able to die tomorrow. You don't have the privilege to be able to rest on your laurels and think that everything is against you, because although it may be, you are an overcomer. You don't have that luxury to be able to just chill every single day and think that it's okay for you to just have mental health days. We don't have mental health days. We are overcomers. We are winners. We continue to push forward. We don't worry about what everybody else say about us. We don't worry about our circumstances. We don't worry about everything that falls around us. We continue to stand because we are pillars. We are the beacon of hope. We are light. We are the ones that continue to inspire other people to grow and push forward. You don't have the luxury of failing around me. I don't care what your circumstance is. I told you, don't wish me well. Don't send me no virtual hugs. I don't need them. It's the things that I go through on a daily basis that gird me up and prepare me for what it is that I got to face going forward. I'm a soldier. I'm a hustler. I'm a motherfucking millionaire, and I didn't get there by sitting there waiting on somebody to fix me. We fix other people. We not the ones that ask for stuff. We don't ask for forgiveness. We just continue to go forward. We don't ask. We don't ask for help. We are the help. We are the light. We are the saviors. We are the ones that prepare and then go out and help other people. You don't have the luxury to sit on your laurels. We'll rest when we die. We're going to rest when we die. Then we all can celebrate together, all in our nursing homes. All right? I'm here with you. I'm right here with you. I go through shit just like you. I'm right here with you. We're not going to worry about what we're going through. Just keep going forward, and I got your back. And as long as you wake up in the morning, and as long as you continue to do the things, and you want to continue to be great, and you want to continue to grow, and you want to continue to go forward, I will be here to help you and give you that push. As long as I'm here and as long as I got breath in my body, one thing I will promise you, I will never, ever rest until I continue to push every last one of y'all forward and make sure that we all get it together. Okay? All right? Now get up. Get the fuck up and let's work. Let's go, y'all. All right, let me read a few more of these super chats and then we're going to get started with the show. Because I just need y'all to understand this. And everything I do, when I wake up in the morning, I don't know what I'm going to say. The only thing is I take my real life circumstances and allow for that to guide me and continue to push me forward. Okay? I love y'all. I need y'all. I can't be out here on my own. You are my engine. You are the people that motivate me to continue to push forward. If I don't have you, then I don't have nothing. The only reason why I'm here today. You're the only reason why I'm here today. I need you. I need you like you need me. We need each other. We interdependent on each other, all right? Let me read a couple of these super chats and then we're going to get it popping. Shout out to Mary. Mary says, thank you for everything that you do for us. You've been the voice of God for me. It has been a big difference in my life and in my family. Continue doing the work. We support you. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate you. Thank you to all of my friends and my family that continue to support the platform. I love you, and I'm glad that I am absolutely adding value into your life. My girl Yvette says, life definitely tests our strength. And I know what Yvette goes through. Listen, when I look at the things that I go through, because I know Yvette in real life and I've met her in real life as a part of the Bag Chasers and I met her multiple different times, I know what she's going through. When I look at what other people going through and they still got the strength to continue to go forward, I ain't got no excuses. I got to keep pushing. Shout out to Yvette. Shout out Sam says, I'm not there yet, but I still feel like a god in a mortal body. We must endure to overcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Messi Mathematician with the 20 ball. Thank you, Messi says, I want you, AD, to know that you are very much loved and respected. You don't know how you inspired me today. I'm pretty new to this community you have built, and it is valuable to me. A heartfelt thanks, and a heartfelt thanks to you too, Messi. I love you. Thank you, baby. I love you. Raphael says, thank you, coach. No, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Y'all want to go ahead and get started with the show, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. If you haven't already, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications. Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Thank you for being a sponsor of the show, Teach Hanley. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling excited. Let's get messy before we get into the money because I want to talk about a few things today. I want to talk about the things that you guys are advocating for me to talk about, which is this alleged kiss from YK Osiris and Suki Hana. We're going to go into Samsung. I want to go into the money with Samsung and their growing chip empire. I want to talk about George Soros because Patrick Bet David gave a small soliloquy and a breakdown on who is largely believed to be one of the most feared people on the face of this earth, but he is a very old man, and he's recently been in the news as far as his empire being handed over to different people. Shout out to Black Beauty. I appreciate you, Black Beauty. Thank you, my love, for the 2-ball. Says, thank you for that motivation, AD. Now, thank you for continuing to rock with me, Black Beauty. I rock with you. And the interesting thing about this whole YK Osiris, Suki Hana kiss is that, again, it's divided the community. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate you, too. It's divided the community. And the reason that it's divided the community is because it seems as though there is no middle or no true understanding from people in order to really come to a conclusion of how it is that we need to be moving more effectively in our lives. So, for example, matter of fact, let's just go ahead and break it down. Thank you, Levite Apparel. I'm going to read that super chat throughout the show. I'm continuing to read super chats throughout the show. Shout out to Mike, that dude. I love you. I appreciate you for that. Let's just go ahead and get into the show, right? So, this whole Suki Hana situation. Let's do this. Let's play it like that. All right. It's a weird circumstance, y'all. It's very, very weird. And the weird thing about it is that it's almost like people want you to feel a certain type of way or believe a certain thing simply because it aligns with the mindset of the majority of the people that's on this gender war thing. And it is a gender war. If we're going to be absolutely honest and transparent, I believe that it is a gender war. So I want to play this for you, and this is courtesy of TMZ. I want to play this for you, and this is the actual situation that took place. For those of you that have been living under a rock, or you may not necessarily understand what's going on because you've been living your own life, I want you to see it for yourself, and then we're going to break it down. And it's so many other factors that go into it of why this is dividing men and women alike, okay? I want you to see it for yourself. Let me go ahead and play this, and then you guys can tell me what you think. Well, hold on. Hold on, before we get into it. I got to make sure that the audio is right because I want you guys to be able to hear this. All right, should be right now. Yeah.
We have Tibble.
Oh my!
Oh, two already.
All right, let me rewind that really quickly. All right. I'm going to rewind that really quickly. So that was basically the entirety of the situation. It's so much to mine out in this situation right here. It's so much to break down in this situation right here. As short as this video, this 30-second video is, it is so much to break down in this conversation. Now, I'm going to tell you where the division lies, all right? I'm going to tell you where the division lies. First and foremost, you have guys on one side of the aisle and women. Let's just say people. You have people on one side of the aisle that say, well, how can she say anything about what it is that he's doing to her because of how it is that she presents herself? And we're going to get into that because a lot of y'all are not familiar with who Suki Hana is. And then you have people on the other side of the aisle that says, I don't care what a woman says or what it is that she does or how she presents herself or whether or not she's on fans only. Of course, I know it's the other way around. I say that on purpose. Or even if she's a P-star, there is no reason for a man to ever do this for a woman or to a woman unwillingly because this would constitute assault. That is the two sides. And I'm going to take a firm stance and then add the additional context as to what it is that I believe makes the most sense. I'm going to play it one more time for the people that just got in here because I want you to see the entire context of it. And then we're going to break it down frame by frame. And I'm going to help you to understand how I see it. And then you guys can let me know in the chat of whether or not I'm analyzing this correctly. All right. He's got his hands on her shoulders. You got little Duval right there. You got my man, I forgot what my man's name is. But he's the comedian or whatever like that. And then you got the guy that's on the left side, the white guy. And then it's obviously people that's watching us standing up. But I'm going to play it in its entirety one more time, and then we're going to break it down frame by frame, all right?
We have tip-off.
Oh, my.
Oh, two already.
All right, before we get into his reaction, let me put it on a specific spot. Let's do it like this. That's a problem. That's a problem. This right here, this frame right here, this is a problem. This is a huge problem, especially in 2023. This is an issue. This is a huge issue. All right. Let's break it down frame by frame. And then we're going to give our thoughts. And I'm going to break it down for you guys. So let me go ahead and rewind this a little bit. And I'm going to break it down frame by frame. A, look like this dude is trying to get his courage up. He's familiar with who she is. For those of you that are not familiar, she is a chick that's obviously for the streets. I mean, she's made some of the most egregious videos, slut me out, you know, talk about how she eat ass and, you know, all of the most nasty, egregious things that happen on the face of this earth, the things that we hate the most about women. She is for the streets, no doubt. No doubt whatsoever, absolutely for the streets. However, well, I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself for now. Let's continue. Old country boy, I'm going to read that super chat shortly. You can't have your hands on a chick's shoulders like this, bro. It's 2023. You can't have your hands on a chick's shoulders like this in 2023, especially in public, bro. You asking, especially as a public figure, for a problem, bro. You're asking as a public figure for a problem, bro. You do not, by any means, I know y'all want to do what y'all want to do when y'all want to do it, but let me go ahead and give you some OG wisdom so that I can keep y'all ass out of jail and avoiding lawsuits. In this age of feminism and believe all women, when you on camera publicly fucking up, that is a problem. All right? I've shown it twice, and now we're going to break it down frame by frame. Let's continue.
Oh, my.
Oh, two already.
I know she for the streets, fam. I know the narrative is that she for the streets. Somebody said Anton needs to find a whole clip and not just post this snippet. Nigga, the snippet is enough to get you in jail. What the fuck you talking about? Listen, I don't care what she said she would do to him before that and all of that other type of stuff. I'm talking about how to keep y'all ass alive and free. I don't care what she said before it. I don't care what she said after it. The only thing that I'm telling y'all is how to keep your ass out of jail. If everybody else in the room is looking like, what the fuck is going on? That's a problem. I don't care how for the street she is. I don't care if everybody in the room just got done running the train on her. My boy, do not be the one to get me too'd or get absolutely, positively thrown under the bus, in jail. Nigga, y'all seen what just happened to Tory Lanez? It's open season on y'all dudes. It's open season on y'all, and y'all out here fumbling the bag, putting yourself in the worst position possible because you think that somebody is going to come to your aid, and Tory Lanez is over here facing 20 plus years, fam. It's always going to be, I don't care what her history is, I don't care what her past is, it's always going to be against you, big dog. Always. Shout out to Ryan Isaac. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. The only thing that you need to be convicted in is the court of public opinion. That's it. Yo, who in this chat right now was checking for YK Osiris before this? You know what he just did? I'm going to tell you what he just did. Outside of canceling himself, let me tell you what he just did. He elevated her to superstar status. He elevated her to superstar status. He shot himself in the foot, and then he put her on a hot air balloon of success now. When everybody only checked for her with regard to how for the street she was and how it was that she was saying do anything in order to go viral, he just put her in a seat to success because everything and everyone and every woman, no matter where they stood on the spectrum of how it is that she operated as a woman, has basically come to her aid because there is no better woman to promote than a damsel in distress, especially for what it is that's going on in society today. He literally just put her on a path to success. She should probably be sending him a thank you letter. She basically put this dude on a poster while elevating herself to superstar status because the only thing that anybody is talking about over these next couple days or these next few days is what's going to happen to him and how it is that she needs to be protected. Protect all women is now going to be the narrative. But this dude that is so unaware, not self-aware, can't read the room, don't even realize that even though she said whatever it is that she said, the minute that she started turning away from you and saying no, you should have just took your hands off of her, bro. You got to back up. This ain't got nothing to do with what's right. This has everything to do with, or how she presents herself. This got everything to do with protect yourself first. The minute that she was like, oh no, whatever, so on and so forth, bro, take your hands off of the chick and just walk away. Don't keep going. Don't try to recover from it. Don't try to worry about whether or not you got embarrassed. Don't worry about what the vlog's gonna say you went in for a kiss and she turned away from you. Listen, you're gonna be cool with that. You're gonna be cool with that. We can overcome the idea that, never mind the fact of why would you try to kiss a chick in the mouth that openly talks about how she for the streets and how she eats so many different dudes' ass. Never mind that part. Why would you want to kiss a chick in the mouth? Can we cook for a minute? Can we just cook for a minute? Why would you want to kiss a chick in the mouth that talks about how she does some of the most egregious things to all of these different guys' private parts? Never mind the fact that you're looking like a fool on that front. Now you're looking at it like a fool because she dissed you and you couldn't read the room and see that she really didn't want you, and so you continued to go in on it, and now you kill yourself. You kill your career. You kill everything that come along with it, and you don't really understand what it is that you do. But he nervous. He nervous. This literally takes place in a span of about 20 seconds. So let's continue. Let's play some more. Look. So he got her by the neck. This is the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. Right after Travis Rudolph got off, right after the fellas caught a victory, this motherfucker set us back 5 more steps. Okay, cool. So he looking weird. Lil Duval looking weirded out like, what the fuck, bro? He still got his hand on her neck. He's smiling hard. She denied him once. This is the nail in the coffin right here. Oh, wait. Listen. I love my guys. I love my guys. But it's hard to fight on the behalf of this one. It's hard to fight back the court of public opinion on this one. When you did it once, we might have been able to get you off. When she fought you once and she was like, oh no. And let me tell you what the worst part about this is. Now, what's his name? Marco or something like that? Funny Marco, that's his name. Now Funny Marco and Lil Duval is under fire too. You didn't just fumble the bag for yourself. You also fumbled the bag. You also fumbled the bag because now Lil Duval is sitting here because I'm not really sure I could have done anything else. I'm not saying nothing. If the only thing Lil Duval and Funny Marco could have did was act like their phone was ringing and get the fuck up and like somebody called them. Oh man, what's going on over there? And run out of the space of the camera. Because now you fumbled your bag and now motherfuckers is questioning Lil Duval and Funny Marco saying, why y'all didn't say nothing? Look, let me tell you what the narrative is going to be for the next week. This is why black men this is why black women is the least protected and all of this other shit. Now we got to hear that shit for the next week. Don't matter how many videos of how she slutted it out, how much ass she ate, how many interviews has she done. The only thing that we gonna have to hear for the next 3 weeks is how black women is the least protected, even when the camera is on. It's the only thing we gonna have to hear for the next 3 weeks because he didn't do it once. He went in for a double whammy and he got more aggressive on a second one. Duval know what the fuck is going on. Duval is like, shit. I bet you Duval is thinking to himself right now, like, damn, I don't even know what the fuck I just got myself into. I wish I never even came to this event. Funny Marco was a beta, so he trying to play it off. Now, Lil Duval got to face the music. Funny Marco got to face the music. The only person that probably ain't facing the music is the white boy because he going to be like, man, I didn't even know what was going on. I can't even see past Funny Marco's head. And it's all for a chick for the streets. All of this for a chick for the streets. Let's continue. Look at this dude. This is all bad. This is all bad. This is so bad. This 20-second clip could not get any more worse for YK Osiris. It cannot get any worse for black men. It cannot get any worse for men in general. It cannot get any better for women. Yep, I said it. It can't get any better for women. And it can't get any worse for Funny Marco. Any worse. Look, she look at her. Look at her response. She looking over. She not smiling no more. Look, she not smiling no more. She trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. If she's an actor, she's a phenomenal actress. Now she deserves an Oscar. Look, And now he trying to play it off because this is the moment. This is the face of a man, ladies and gentlemen, that knows that he fucked up. And so let me tell you the nature of men. Usually when we trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, we tap our homeboys like, my dog, you see that? That was crazy, wasn't it? Fam, this is nuts. This is crazy. You see that? Man, you see how that went down, bro? This is crazy. Yo, dog, this is wild, ain't it? Man, this game is lit. We in the building. Because he's trying to play it off. Genuinely trying to play it off. Trying to get this shit past them. Trying to get this shit behind them. Trying to just have a conversation. Dog, this is wild. This is all bad. There is nothing in this. Nothing in this that is good. When you start to seek validation from the other people around you, and then the other people around you don't even know how to react, like, yeah, dog. Hey, yo, dog, we got to get up out of here. I don't want to be associated with this. I don't even want I would have put my mask on immediately. Put my mask on immediately. I wasn't there, bro. I don't know what the hell is going on. Everybody looking bad. Every single black man in this video now has to be given account for their role and what the fuck just happened. Look. He don't want to give him no hug. Who is that? The security? He not feeling good about this either. No, don't come back over there now. Look, he recording. Now they gonna want to subpoena exactly what's in his phone, and did he get it from a different angle? Look at Funny Marco looking at this dude. You know you done fucked up, right? You know you done messed up, right? So let me add another wrinkle into this, right? I want to share with you guys something really quickly. Aside from the foolishness that we see playing out right here, I want to share with you something else really quickly. I want you to know who this woman is and what he threw it all away for. I want you to know who this woman is and who he threw it away for. All right? This is her. This is Suki Hana. No matter how much makeup she put on, how much she got done up, whatever surgery could or couldn't happen, this is the woman that he threw it away for.
I want to tell y'all I apologize and I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but as far as this music stuff, I won't be doing this music stuff anymore. I started this because this was my dream, and you know, I wanted to make sure I could get me and my kids out the hood. It's always been my passion to rap.
Look at the picture at the bottom, and then look at her right here. Look at the picture at the bottom, and then look at her right here. This is who he threw it all away for.
A while ago, I had signed a contract, and I didn't know nothing about the business or this game out here. And just right now, I'm realizing that I signed my soul. I sold my soul to the devil. I signed myself to the devil.
She's literally admitting on camera before she ever gets any visibility that she sold her soul to the devil. She admits on camera before she gets any visibility that she sold her soul to the devil, which then you start to see everything that plays out as far as the thing that she talks about online, the thing she's advocating for, all of that, right? She sold her soul to the devil. This is who my man's threw his whole life away for.
I don't even own myself no more. I sold my soul to the motherfucking devil, and I done prayed. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. You know, it's just like, I don't know if God can get me out of this, you know, and it's just like to the point where I don't even know, like I just want to say I'm sorry to my fans. I know y'all love me. I know y'all believe in me, but I can't. I didn't know what I was doing back then, and I lost passion. I don't even believe that. I don't even believe in myself no more because of what I did. I did not know the game was like this. And I'm just ready to go back to school. I'm just ready to move away and go to school. I just want to tell everybody I'm sorry. And I won't be making any more music until I'm out of this contract. And who knows if that'll ever happen. Like, who knows if that can ever happen. I don't know. I done prayed and I prayed and I prayed. I don't even know if God can hear me at this point. But I just made the biggest mistake that I ever made. And I just hope, if you're an artist.
So here's the interesting thing about this whole situation. Let's go back to the original video really quickly. All right. Let's go back to the original video really quickly. Let's play this one more time.
Oh my.
Oh, two already. Yo.
That's the frame right there. That's the frame right there. That's the money shot, ladies and gentlemen. That's the thing that's going to get him canceled. Right there. That's it. That's the money shot that's going to get him canceled. And for who? And for what? And why? And what did you get out of it? And what was you expecting from it? And how did you think that this was going to play out? See, I need my guys to be smarter about what it is that they put themselves into. I honestly need my guys to be a lot smarter and a lot wiser of how it is that they moving out here in these streets, because you are literally going to put every single thing that you worked on and everything that you worked for and whatever it was that you were seeking to get out of this whole situation, you have now thrown it away for a chick that's for the streets. I see some dummies still in the chat. I see some idiots still in the chat. Well, she didn't say stop. She just moved away from him. Nigga, what you think that means? Do you think that means keep going? I got news for you, big dog. In 2023, it don't mean that no more. I don't know who told you this. I don't know who's teaching you this. I don't know what jail you done been to. I don't know who your father is. I don't know what your mother was subjected to. In 2023, even if a chick is giving you consent, you almost got to record it just to make sure that she can't lie and say that she didn't. You got to almost record her signing that non-disclosure agreement and that consent agreement in order to make sure that you protect yourself. I don't know who is teaching y'all this. I don't know who told y'all how many bodies this chick done had, no matter what it is that she says. The minute that she even looks the other way, the minute that she seemed like she don't want it, just walk away. Just go. Oh, bro, there's so many other hoes out here. It's so many other chicks out here. It's so much more opportunity out here. This is what you shot yourself in the foot for. Let me continue. Look, check this out. This ain't even the end of it. So, if you scroll down, Big Homie then offers his apology. He says, I want to publicly offer my sincerest apology to Suki Hana. Yo, what the fuck has the world come to where I got to start apologizing to a chick named Suki Hana? This is wild. I should have never even put myself in this position in the first place. But for the sake of conversation, let's continue. I want to publicly offer my sincerest apology to Suki Hana in an attempt to be playful. I misread the moment and violated Suki Hana's boundaries. I understand the importance of consent, and I am embarrassed by my behavior. I take full responsibility and have made multiple attempts to apologize. I have the utmost admiration for Suki Hana, and it was never my intention to disrespect her. And this is where the conundrum lies for a lot of people. This is where the conundrum lies for a lot of people. Because on one side of the fence, you have a lot of people saying that, well, she misrepresents herself all the time. She say she a hoe. She out here being a throat goblin. She take it all the way in. She eat butt and she do all of this other type of stuff. But at what point do we then start to protect ourselves and don't even put ourselves in this position in the first place? Look, I told y'all that was the money shot. This is a screenshot right here that they took. This is the money shot right here. People online have accused him of sexual assault, and the hours after the event, Suki tweeted, look, now she about to capitalize. The people in her camp said, yo, this is a come up. If you're trying to finesse your way to the top, this is your come up. Look, her name is Suki Hana Gold. Her name is Suki with the good cuckoo. Jesus. You let a stripper come up on for you, bro? I drink to hide that I'm very sensitive. If this ain't a Me Too movement, I don't know what it is. I feel things more than the average person. Talk about capitalization. I stopped drinking yesterday, but today I've been crying all day long. All this means is show me the money. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Black Lives Matters people, the girls that's run Black Lives Matters, comes out and start advocating for this again. I ask God for strength or to strengthen me and to use me to help others. Right after you sold your life and your soul to the devil. Right after you stopped. Listen, your name is Suki with the good coochie. And she's sitting here asking God to strengthen her, to use her to help others and to order her steps in his word. Come on, fam. Come on, baby. If this ain't getting a check, I don't know what is. I just want to go away for a while. In Jesus' name, amen. Suki with the good nookie, as her name illustrates right here. Thank you for the super chats. I'll be reading those shortly. Said that she's been crying all day and asking God to strengthen her, to use her to help others and to order her steps in his word. This is wild. This is 2023 year of our Lord wild. And you know what the funniest part about it is? You know what the worst part about this whole situation is? She's going to get away with it. Everything she's saying today is going to play out beautifully in her favor. I'm not even sure that I believe that she's the person that wrote this. I'm not so sure that I believe that she's the person that wrote this. I'm not. But you know what we got to do now, fellas? We got to gird up, watch our back even more, try not to get Me Too'd, all because one guy had 25 seconds of ignorance. You got Paul Pierce, you got YK Osiris. AJ says, but still, Suki set herself up. Yeah, she set herself up for a bag and you just ain't getting it. It's finesse season on fellas right now. Let me say this before we continue with the Suki Hana situation. It is finesse season on guys like you that just said that. You can't tell me that men are this oblivious, that they can't see the play, that they can't see the telegraph pass and then can't get the interception. You cannot see the play. Are you telling me that? Are you not understanding that she literally just set herself up for a bag and to be taken care of for the rest of her life? Y'all can't see the play? Shout out to Team Phenom. I'm going to read that shortly. You telling me that you cannot see the play? Are y'all so oblivious to what's happening in 2023, regardless of how many different examples that we see playing out? You cannot see that this is an obvious come up, in my personal opinion. You can't see that she's going to have more followers, more subscribers, more opportunities, more brands, more people checking for, and more support from all of these different groups that literally are against you. You can't see it. You can't see that she's completely wiped away her past in order to continue to grow her future. You can't see that YK Osiris is literally the sacrifice. He's the one that's going to be on the silver platter, laid out, sacrificed for the Illuminati to ensure that she then becomes more successful than ever. And she's going to ride this wave into the sunset. But you guys truly just don't get it because you can't see the forest for the trees. If Jay-Z managed Meg Thee Stallion through her situation, whoever her handlers were, they need to go and hire them too. And the worst part about the situation is that it's absolutely nothing that YK Osiris can do except for let it play out and see what the fuck happens. Because he's not as talented as Chris Brown. Chris Brown was able to dance himself back into relevancy. Right? Chris Brown was able to dance himself back into relevancy. I wouldn't be surprised if she had Michelle Obama tweeting it and praying for her. Black Lives Matters, all of those chicks, Patrice Cullors and all of them. All she need is one big cosign. Beyonce give her a shout out at a concert or some shit like that. Rihanna give her a new Fenty deal or something. That's all she need. And it's off to the races. It's over. Rich forever. Rich forever. And we still got guys that truly don't understand how this is playing out and how you're going to suffer as a result of it. Look how they playing it. Look, check this out. Sources with direct knowledge of the situation told us prior to Saturday, the two didn't have any sort of relationship, and the whole thing took Suki totally off guard. She was both embarrassed and hurt by YK's actions. You know how we know that this is a come up, honestly? In my personal opinion, allegedly. You know how we know that this is a come up? This last sentence right here at the end of the article. Suki has not yet responded to the apology. You know what they doing? She doing what he didn't do. She's consulting every single person in her circle in order to ensure that she comes up as a result of this. Every person that has a vested interest in her success is working feverishly. They got their chat GBT open. They reviewing all the different issues and statements that can be issued. They rebranding. They probably got a new single about to drop. She's about to go on a visual tour. She probably about to go on Instagram Live and talk about it and have 30,000 people watching at the same time. And she's going to capitalize off of this. And you know what the worst part about it is? All he can do is sit there and wait for his fate to be decided by the people and public opinion. All because he was not situationally aware and he could not play this thing any worse than he already did. One thing I'll tell you for sure. All right. If you didn't know, I'm going to inform you. One thing is for sure. Two things is for certain. One thing is for sure and two things is for certain. If you're going through something, or you was D-Wade yesterday having a conversation with Shannon Sharpe about splitting it 50-50 and you getting killed in social media, All you got to do is wait. It's going to be another fool like YK Osiris that's going to come through and take your place, big dog. Now, when everybody was wanting to talk about Dwayne Wade, now we talking about YK Osiris because this dude can't keep his hands to himself. Shout out to YK for getting Dwayne Wade out of the hot seat and Paul Pierce and Zion Williamson. Fucking dumb motherfucker. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to get started. We're going to continue with the show because we got to get to the money. Levi Apparel says, Anton, when you said I pray worst and best, thank you. I know the worst means through the fire, refined like gold. Put to the pressure like a diamond. I am. Shout out to Levi Apparel. I appreciate you. Let me read some more of these super chats. Old Country Boy says she wanted to keep them a secret. ATL, hold this L. Y'all built different. Ryan Isaac says, why would he even be trying to put his lips on a chick like that in the first place? Facts. Agreed. Why would you even spend your time putting your lips on something that everybody else done already put their dude on in the first place? Have no clue whatsoever. That's wild. Shout out to Ryan Isaac. Classy Beat says, in a justice system, consent can be removed at any, capitalized, anytime. Anytime. Even if she said she wanted to kiss him, or she wanted him to kiss her 5 minutes earlier, but then said no when he did it, it's a clear violation. Shaking my head. You are absolutely right. He dropped the bag hard. Facts. Silver Lion says, as a man or men must remain in frame all the time because this is an issue of selective outrage and super privilege. Never lose pocket. And Silver Lion is 100% correct. It's not about whether or not she represented herself this way or whether or not it's, if a chick is walking down the street in a black dress and her ass is halfway hanging out, should you touch her? Is she inviting the wrong energy? She absolutely is inviting the wrong energy. Should we slut shame her? Probably, but you probably should keep your hands to yourself because then the attention is going to go from whether or not she should be slut shamed to whether or not you should go to jail because you put your hands on somebody and put yourself in a position that you shouldn't have been in the first place. That's the issue. Be proactive so that we can have the right conversations and it don't deviate away from the thing that we should have been talking about in the first place. That's the whole conversation that we have in today. Christopher J says, another irrelevant artist nuking his music career. Facts. Timeout says he better issue a public apology and take what comes next. Oh, he gonna take what comes next. I guarantee you that. Rickster says, how she didn't read the contract before signing or hiring a lawyer to read it, that's common sense 101 because they be trying to get that quick money, man. Aaron says, throw his whole mouth away. You ain't never lied on that. Tia Marie says, this man cupped his hand to her mouth like she was a baby bird trying to kiss her. Suki Hana or Plain Jane is gross. He played himself on this. I agree. 100%. Team Phenom says, peace and blessings. Much love. Thank you for the 2-ball. I appreciate you, Team Phenom. Classy Beat says, she's a hoe, AD. She's just not a ho-ho. Give her a break. Crystal One says, get the likes up for the king. I appreciate you, Chris. Thank you, my friend. Brock says, is this what black culture looks like? Yep, absolutely. Keep on fumbling the bag, talking about what we should have instead of putting ourselves in a position to protect ourselves. Rickster says she definitely going to have a single that's going to say black men ain't ish and represent how strong of a mother she is. She getting to that bag. She just became an instant multimillionaire all because YK Osiris decided that he wanted to put himself in harm's way. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Tap into that Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order, plus a free gift. Teach Hanley is a sponsor of the show. Make sure you get that Teach back. If you got anything other than the Teach, in which we're offering in the description, you are fumbling the bag. Trust me, you fumble in the bag. Also, tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on to the next thing. We got to go ahead and get to the money, y'all. We don't want to deviate. Patrick Bet David has been in the news recently, basically talking extensively about what it is that's happening with Andrew Tate. But Patrick Bet David decided that he wanted to go down another path with George Soros. Now, a lot of people are unfamiliar with George Soros, but this is the Millionaire Morning Show, and so we have to inform you and keep you up to date on what's going on because everything comes back down to the money. Even when we talking about Suki Hana, even when we talking about YK Osiris, even when we talking about our own personal issues and problems, it all comes back to the money. If you guys have not hit a like for the YouTube algorithm right now, it is more than 1,300 people in here, and the likes are very, very anemic. Please don't make me go to a commercial. I want to share with you the thoughts of what Patrick Bet-David had to say with regard to George Soros or Soros. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it popping.
I want to read you an article from LA Times. It says October of 2004. The title of the article is George Soros, the God who carries around some dangerous demons. Here's what he says in the interview. He says, I fancied myself as some kind of God. If truth be known, I carried some rather potent messianic fantasies with me from childhood, which I felt I had to control. Otherwise, they might get me in trouble.
The question that I have for y'all as we go through a lot of these conversations, right? Because I explained to y'all a long time ago that when you get to certain levels and when you get in certain rooms, you can feel the energy and the spirit from certain things. And when I say you can feel the energy and the spirit from certain things, it don't matter if they got money, but if they got money, it just seems to be a lot more pronounced as far as that energy and that spirit. And the things that I'm having conversations about nowadays is principalities and not just the bag. And this is why it's so important to have character. This is why it's so important for you to align yourself with the right group of people. This is why it's so important for you to be situationally aware, because you don't want to do anything for the bag. You want to become the best version of yourself, understanding that the money comes along with it. It said, if truth be known, I carried some rather potent, keyword potent, messianic fantasies with me from childhood, which I felt I had to control, otherwise they might get me in trouble. Let's continue.
Had to control, otherwise they might get me in trouble. It is a sort of disease when you consider yourself some kind of God, the creator of everything. Are you ready? Here's how he finishes it. But I feel comfortable about it now since I began to live it out. Today, we're going to learn more about George Soros. Get right into it. Why do we need to learn about this man named George Soros, who's 92 years old? Why would you be intimidated by this guy? So what if he's made somewhere between $50 to $70 billion in his career?
$70 billion is allegedly around what his net worth is. $70 billion. Thank you to Money Mix. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. $70 billion. As we go through this, I want y'all to ask yourself a question. And the question that I want y'all to ask yourself is it possible to become a deca billionaire? Not deca millionaire, but a deca billionaire, without at some point making some sacrifices or doing some egregious shit along the way?
And currently his net worth is $7 billion. Yeah, he's given $32 billion to different organizations such as Open Society Organization and some others. Yeah, he's supported a lot of different presidents, a lot of different candidates, a lot of different people. Why are people so scared of him? Is this guy a puppet master? Is he evil? Is he a good person? Is he a bad person? Is he a humanitarian? Maybe he's just a father. Maybe he just wants to support some cause. Why are you so worried about him? All of those are great questions. Today, we're going to study his childhood, upbringing as an adult, how he became an investor where he made all the money, Karl Popper, who is this Karl Popper guy, and who he's given money to over the years. Let's get right into it. All right, so he was born August 1930 in Budapest, Hungary, originally named Georgi Schwartz, but his father later changed the family surname to Soros, a more Hungarian-sounding name to protect them from increasing anti-Semitic sentiment in Hungary. His father, Tiva.
Now, why is it so important, and why is George Soros in the news so much lately? Anybody that's been paying attention to what's going on financially in the news and so on and so forth, George Soros's millennial son. Now remember, this guy is above 90 years old. He controls a hedge fund allegedly over or worth over $25 billion. net worth above $7 billion, has made over $70 billion in his lifetime, allegedly. And his son is now taking over the throne and is in charge of the $25 billion hedge fund. Y'all want to see what his son looks like? Here, I'm going to show you what his son looks like. I'm going to show you what the son looks like. That's what the son looks like. His son, his millennial son, is now in charge of the $25 billion hedge fund that George Soros has allegedly built. Okay, let's continue.
Salvador was a lawyer and a passionate promoter of Esperanto, an artificial language created in the late 19th century intended to foster harmony between people from different cultures. His father's decision to teach Esperanto was an early indication of commitment to an open-mindedness and understanding of different cultures that George would carry into his later life. George Soros was 14 during the Nazi occupation of Hungary in 1944. His father secured false identities for the family, identifying themselves as Christians. George Soros was tasked with being a courier who helped Nazis identify Jews and confiscate their property. And in a 1998 60-minute interview, he was asked if this was a traumatizing experience, and this is how he responded.
My understanding is that you went out with this protector of yours who swore that you were his adopted godson.
Yes.
Went out, in fact, and helped in the confiscation of property from the Jews.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, that sounds like an experience that would send lots of people to the psychiatric couch for many, many years. Was it difficult?
Not at all. Not at all.
So in his childhood, he was basically a part of and mentored by and subjected to the idea that he had to go out and participate in the confiscation of different things with regard to the Nazis, especially as it was occupied in Germany, right? And they asked him, is this a traumatizing experience, the things that you had to do and be subjected to as a result of it? And he said, no, it wasn't hard at all. Not particularly. What people don't understand is that I think that the business world is way more gangster and cutthroat than what it is that y'all have seen on the streets. The business world and the people that usually rise to the top, you have to have a way about you that allows for you to be able to operate a certain type of way, because you don't know what it is that you're going to have to do, and you're going to have to make some sacrifices along the way that allows for you to even become more successful. You have to remove a part of yourself and just become a savage. And I think that that's one of the reasons why he's become so successful as a result of it.
So a lot of people who didn't know who George Soros was, they watched this interview and they said, this guy sounds like a sociopath. How could you say something like that? Some others said, well, maybe he was numb as a 14.
They say most CEOs are sociopaths. Most millionaires, guys that usually rise to the top, and even women that rise to the top, they say that they're narcissists and they're sociopaths. The best, I read an article one time and it said that the best position for somebody that is a sociopath is a CEO, or did they say a doctor? And there was a few other positions, but they say sociopaths are best suited to become leaders within great companies and continue to drive profitability.
14-year-old, imagine you're going through it and you see stuff like that. By the way, at the same time when this is taking place, he had another traumatic experience. Two of the liberators that were helping them out, Russian liberators, they raped his mother, and his mother talked about it. So this kid, all this pain, all this anger, all this frustration, all these experiences, all happening at the same time. You have to live a fake life so they don't kill you, act like you're a Christian, help the Nazis, find Jews, your mom's going through this, you're working with Russians, all of that together at a young age. What does that do to you? So now let's look at George Soros as a young adult.
It makes you a CEO.
After the war, Hungary fell under the communist rule. In 1947, Soros left Hungary for England. He worked as a waiter and a railway porter to support his studies at the London School of Economics. During this time, he meets the man that had the most influence in his life. This is according to his words, Karl Popper. Now, who is Karl Popper? Karl Popper was a philosopher of science and epistemologist, best known for his principle of falsifiability. So what did Karl Popper really believe in? These are some of the philosophies that he had. Number one, falsifiability. He proposed that for a theory to be considered scientific, it must be potentially falsifiable. This means there must be a potential observation or experiment that could prove the theory false. Number two, the principle of falsifiability was designed to solve the demarcation problem, the problem of distinguishing between science and non-science or pseudoscience. Number three, critique of historicism. He argued against the idea that history unfolds according to predictable laws or patterns. He promoted the idea that human actions can significantly influence the course of history. Four, open society is what he believed in, which, by the way, later on, Soros starts a foundation called Open Society Foundation. Here's what open society means to Karl Popper. The open society and its enemies. Popper defended liberal democracy and criticized totalitarianism. He depicted democratic societies as open, self-correcting systems. And last point, influence and critique. While Popper's philosophy has been influential, it has been subject to debate and critique. Despite this, he remains one of the most widely read philosophers of the 20th century. So those were his philosophies, Karl Popper, but this is how he influenced George Soros. So number one was the philosophy of open society. Keep in mind, this is in the late 40s, early 50s. Instead of promoting totalitarian regimes such as communism and fascism, it was about replacing it with individual freedom, democratic governance, and a flexible, changing social and economic structure. This is what he wanted to do. Number two, followabilism, the belief that all knowledge is tentative, provisional, and subject to revision in light of new evidence. This influenced Soros' investment strategy, and he always talks about the fact that he was ready to adjust his positions if the facts changed. Number three is critical thinking. So Soros adopted this in his investment strategy, where he was often willing to go against conventional wisdom, but also in his philanthropic activities, encouraging open debate and discussion. And last but not least, humanitarian efforts. This has significantly influenced Soros' philanthropic efforts, which has focused on civil society, education, and human rights around the globe. Or at least that's what he claims to focus on. So while he's getting clear on his philosophies, he's picking up from Karl Popper. At the same time, Europe is in shambles. The Marshall Plan is being executed from U.S. by George Marshall, Secretary of State. They're sending $13 to $15 billion to Europe in fuel, food, different ways to help out. He's seeing this, saying there may be a need for a global Marshall Plan. I'd love to be a part of that. That also kind of inspired him a little bit. So we just learned a little bit about his childhood, adulthood, and how his philosophies are getting clear. Now let's look at how he does in finance. So let me put it to you this way. From 1970 till 2000, if you had to throw names out there on who are the best money managers, you would find the name Buffett, you would find the name Soros, and later on you would find the name Dalio. From 1970.
And I love Ray Dalio and I love Warren Buffett, but we'll get to that shortly. I want to get to a point that he's about to make.
To 2000, he starts a fund called Quantum Fund. It's still around, but during that period, average annual rate of return, 30%. And he has.
Now, do you know how difficult it is to get a rate of return, an average annual rate of return of 30% over a 30-year period from 1970 to 2000? Also famously made a $1 billion profit in a single day in 1992 by short selling the British pound. Now, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I do understand in order for you to get that type of leg up, you have to have some really good connections and you really have to have some understanding of what the hell is happening on the back end. Nobody gets that lucky. Nobody is that smart. Nobody can get you an annual rate of return of 30% over 30 years. That's insane. That is absolutely insane, family. That's crazy. Whew. You know how crazy that is? You know how hard it is to get an annual rate of return of 10% on your portfolio every single year, let alone for 30 years straight?
Average annual rate of return, 30%. And he had some years that was 60+%. every year. And of course, it helped in many cases when these guys were operating on offshore laws, not having to abide by SEC, US tax code, all the stuff that we had going on here. That is a form of an edge that he had. But at the same time, he was either the best or one of the top 3 best during his time. So now, Soros had 2 things when it came out to his investment philosophy. One of it was fallibility and the other one was reflexivity. Let's look at both. Number one, the theory of fallibility is a concept stemmed from the philosophical understanding that it's impossible to achieve perfect knowledge. In other words, humans are inherently flawed in their understanding and judgment. The theory is mainly used to explain the limitations of human comprehension and decision-making in complex systems like economics. This fallibility is often magnified by cognitive biases, incomplete information, and the emotions of the individual. And the second theory was the theory of reflexivity. And here's
Now, why does that theory matter? Because a lot of people will hear that and then they will just completely overlook it and they don't really understand how that's applied. Basically, he's depending on the failure or the inability of humans to be able to remain perfect in order to capitalize off of it from a financial perspective. He understands that people are emotional. People are fallible. People are willing to make decisions or do things that are irrational that you can often profit from. I'll give you an example of that, right? There's a lot of people that are willing to move down to a specific area or space like Florida at a time where you can't even get home insurance, right? Unless you go through a specific lender. There's only one person that continues to stick around, or not even one person, one company that continues to stick around in Florida. However, they are convinced that this is a great long-term investment as far as the real estate market down there. Not short-term investment, not mid-term investment, but long-term investment. They're absolutely 100% convinced that this is a great long-term investment, right? So it doesn't matter about what the data and the statistics says. Now we're then also factoring into that the idea that humans are fallible, meaning that they're irrational. They're willing to make emotional decisions that then other people then capitalize off of. Want me to give you a smaller example of that? Toilet paper. Remember when the pandemic, when everybody lost their fucking minds and everybody went in and they was willing to pay an egregious amount for toilet paper? Well, guess what? One of the ways in which I was able to profit during the pandemic is that I had a lot of stocked up supplies and things like that we then capitalized off of, and we moved a lot of it. We had toilet paper, we had paper towel, we had all of that type of stuff stocked up in the basement, and we made an egregious amount of money. And you know why? Because people are emotional and they're willing to panic, and usually you can capitalize off of that. You basically capitalize off of other people's stupidity. And so when I warn y'all and I say it's a recession coming or this is about to happen and you need to prepare yourselves, or the majority of the resources and the money is made during the recession, or when everybody else is gnashing at the teeth, or when people making irrational decisions, happens every single day. Every single day.
And the second theory was the theory of reflexivity. And here's what reflexivity is. It's the idea that people's perception and beliefs influence their decision making, which in turn impacts the state of the world, changing the fundamentals that they are trying to understand. This then further alters their perceptions and beliefs, creating...
You will be surprised how much money we made off of toilet paper, bro. Selling toilet paper online during that time, or I'll give you another one, hand sanitizer. We made so much money off of, you don't believe it. You don't believe it. You don't believe it.
Hello, my love.
What's happening? Hey, do you remember when the pandemic first hit?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember all of the stuff that I had stockpiled in the basement before the pandemic hit, before everything went crazy?
Yep.
What do you remember me moving online?
Paper towel and toilet paper, right?
And hand sanitizer.
Yep, I forgot about that.
People were idiots. They literally were idiots. And I was like, hey, Rita, it's the perfect time to go ahead and move all of this stuff.
Yep. They was paying a lot of money for it.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye.
You'll be surprised how much money we made off of fucking hand sanitizer. People were willing to jump off the fucking cliff for some hand sanitizer. I'm talking about thousands of percent in markup for hand sanitizer. Crazy. But let's continue.
A continuous reflexive feedback loop. He openly talks about how he used some of these philosophies to actually manipulate the markets in his favor and make billions of dollars. We'll look at a couple of the times he did this, but he said this once in his book. This is what makes propaganda so effective, because the complexity of the world we live in exceeds our ability to understand it. Confronted by a reality of extreme complexity, we are obligated to resort to various methods of simplification. Pretty wild, sharp, shrewd, you can call a lot of different names, but here's how we use those philosophies to make billions. Number one, the British pound in 1992. This is the most famous example George Soros used to influence the market by betting against the British pound in 92. He believed that the pound was overvalued and that the British government would have to devalue the currency. He was proven right when the British government was forced to withdraw the pound from the European exchange rate mechanism.
Now, the interesting thing about that, though, he bet $10 billion and made a profit of $1 billion from this trade. Nobody just bets this money and then they just automatically just profit. They have to see it happening before it happens. So there's multiple different factors, similar to what happened in 2008. If you go and read The Big Short, you understand that there were people, and you can start to use these strategies in order to understand exactly how it is that other people make money off of other people making mistakes, right? At the time in 2007, 2006, 2005, 2004, the economy was being propped up with fake money and the idea of home ownership. So much so to where they were putting together what you would call tranches. And tranches it was like a collection of different mortgages all packaged into one. It was bad shit, good shit. And then largely what happened is they packaged the bad shit with the good shit, and then they moved it at a much higher rate. And the fact that people got relaxed and lazy and start capitalizing off of the idea that you didn't even have to have a good job or good credit in order to get these loans, then seen an opportunity for people to then bet against the housing market, in which most people, because of how it was that they've been trained since they came up, would never bet against the housing market, because the housing market had never crashed at that point up to it in those people's lifetimes. And so when you see some inconsistencies in a marketplace, usually that's an opportunity that comes along with somebody that's really willing to put up big money as a result of it. The only problem with that is you then have to contend with other people who are incredibly invested in seeing that system continue to take place. Do you have the wherewithal to endure in that market long enough to actually get to the profitability? And you have to have some really good information to be able to make those decisions.
Soros bet $10 billion and made a profit of $1 billion from this trade, nicknamed the man who broke the Bank of England. According to the Shadow Party book, Soros admits that this bet was taking money out of the pockets of British taxpayer, but says, if I had taken social consequence into account, it would have thrown off my risk-reward calculation and profit.
If he had taken and this is the part that makes you a savage, that then allows for you to really, really be able to become incredibly profitable, right? Because where other people, similar to 2008, would say, well, look how many people had to lose their home, or how many people lost their homes, but then you're profiting off of people losing their homes by betting against the housing market. You got to remove that conscious. You got to remove that bias. You got to remove that whole human element in order to still make the money that you're going to make, because in their mind, the housing market is going to go bust anyway. And so what he's saying is that, listen, the banks at that time was too big to fail, or the taxpayers are then going to be the ones that actually have to suffer as a result of it. But in order for me to do that, I would have to remove my conscience of how that's affecting other people in order to continue to take that risk reward calculation. Meaning, somebody is going to suffer and somebody is going to get rich. It might as well be me. When they sell y'all cigarettes, and they've been selling y'all cigarettes for an extended period of time, when they sold y'all perks, when they dealt with the opioid crisis, when we had the banking crisis, when we had the housing crisis, when they said that the banks was too big to fail, when we seen the pandemic play out and things like that, somebody is going to suffer and somebody is going to get really, 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 really rich as a result of it. The question then becomes, are you willing to continue to go through with it even though you know there's going to be suffering and gnashing of the teeth as a result of it? And that's what we having a conversation about right here, which is one of the reasons why rich people are some of the most feared people on the face of the earth, because they understand. We seeing it take place right now, and I'm going to tell you what the next frontier is. Artificial intelligence, Neuralink, all of these type of things, right? We see it playing out right before our eyes right now. We've had the movies for years that show you that artificial intelligence is going to replace people's jobs, is going to absolutely ruin society. Eventually, it'll probably become so smart that it'll completely kill people and protect people against themselves in order to preserve you. We've seen everything play out. We know this story. We know exactly what's going to happen. We knew it with regard to how it is that we're polluting the earth. We know our oceans is fucked up. We know about the fact that farming animals for human consumption is going to absolutely continue to decimate what it is that we got going on in society, because it put way more CO2 into the air. Farming animals for human consumption is the biggest contributor to global warming, or the warming of the earth. That is a fact. We know this. We know that we depend on fossil fuels. We don't give a fuck. You know why? Because it's going to make our lives more convenient right now. We know that we have a national debt. We know that we have over $31 trillion in national debt. You know what they're going to do? They're going to continue to raise the debt ceiling. We know that we standing on a house of cards. You know that the area that you live in is absolutely going to be decimated. We know everything that's going to happen exactly before it happens. But the reality is that we're willing to profit from it short term, and hopefully we can profit from it long term, understanding that. And then we train ourselves to say that, well, humans is going to destroy each other anyway, or artificial intelligence is going to continue to go forward anyway. So I might as well profit from it instead of competing against it, because even though I know that this is not necessarily the best thing for society at the time, or we don't truly understand it, somebody's going to profit from it. So it might as well be me. And that's how people justify it in their minds, that they're going to continue to do whatever it is that they're doing.
Would have been refused. Can you imagine thinking that way? It's pretty wild. I'm going to give you 4 other examples where it'll validate his reflexivity or his fallibility philosophy. The second one would be the German Deutschmark in 1993. He wrote a letter to the Times of London stating that he expected the mark to fall against all major currencies, which immediately triggered panic selling. Again, this is
There's never a better opportunity to capitalize than when people panic. When people panic, that's how you capitalize. Most of the time, that's how people get really, really rich, is when everybody else panics.
The next one, Asian financial crisis in 1997. During the Asian financial crisis, Soros investment activities were blamed by some for exasperating the crisis. Malaysia's then Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad accused Soros of destabilizing regional economies through currency speculation. Then he also did something similar in Russia, the Russian ruble, 1998. He told Financial Times of London that Russia should devalue the ruble by 15 to 25%, causing widespread panic selling. And the last example, here's the dollar in 2004. Soros announced a short position against the dollar on CNN at a time when the dollar had been quickly declining against the euro, pushing the dollar down even further. So this was his way of...
Yes, Bay Anthony, he allegedly manipulates markets. He's not predicting panic. He sees panic, and then he pushes panic further into what it is that he predicts is going to happen anyway. That's the key. You identify the anomaly, you identify the problem, and then you have enough money to advocate for it or against it. Remember when the Bitcoins and all of these cryptocurrencies and all of these influencers were then starting to put together coins and all of this other type of stuff? I'll do you one better. Remember GameStop? Y'all remember what was going on with GameStop? Remember with the manipulation of the market? Remember what was happening with GameStop and Robinhood and all of this other type of stuff? Y'all remember that? Of course we knew that GameStop was trash. All the fundamentals says that GameStop is absolutely garbage. All of the fundamentals says that GameStop is absolutely garbage, right? But we were able to, they were able to manipulate the market that allowed for them to profit immensely as a result by pushing this further, because they understood that it was a lot of shorts against GameStop, because everybody that really understood the market understood that the company was absolutely trash. And so because they identified their anomaly, they were then able to manipulate the market in order to make a whole lot of money, and then they left a bunch of other people holding the bag.
Making money was one of the ways, finding ways to manipulate the market. Now, a lot of other people have done it, but he mastered it, took it to a whole different level. And then eventually in late 70s, when his net worth was $25 million, he says he felt a certain sense of emptiness. And that's where, the political activist in him came out, the philanthropist.
I feel a certain sense of emptiness in the 70s when I was worth $25 million, which is exponentially worth more when you adjust for inflation.
He came out, and many call him the wealthiest political activist of all time. And these are some of the projects he funded. So remember the word open society he picked up earlier from Karl Popper. Later on in April of 1993, he starts the Open Society Foundation. And then in 2017, Open Society Foundation announced that Soros had transferred $18 billion of his fortune to Open Society, making it a total of $32 billion he had given to Open Society Foundation since 1984. In case you missed it, one more time, $32 billion. That's $32 billion of his own money. Not, hey, let's go raise money. His own money he put into it. And whether it's through its Open Society Foundation or other ways of giving money, he contributed and influenced media, politics, colleges, universities. So let me just kind of share with you some of the numbers.
Shout out to Heather on Cash App with the 20 ball and Mike, that dude. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. I really do appreciate y'all on Cash App.
I have an idea. And in 2004, Soros spent more than $27 million just to help defeat President Bush. If it's colleges, where Open Society spent $50 million per year to influence colleges, between 2014 to 2018, Soros donated $184 million.
So when you're looking at this, right, and they saying that, because largely a lot of these people contribute to both sides. Donald Trump historically has contributed to both Democrat and Republican sides during both campaigns. Like during the same year, contributed to both Democrat and Republican sides during the times in which he was really, really leaning into being a businessman and not so much political. If you understand the history of Donald Trump, if you read any of his books, if you've looked at what he's contributed to throughout the years, it's a fact. When you're talking about donating $184 million over this 171 colleges in 51 countries, now you're talking about influence. When you're talking about being philanthropic, you're talking about influence. You're talking about controlling what's going on in society. It's influence. It's called pay to play. For those of you in the back, that's a C student like me. When I get into certain rooms, when I pay to get into certain rooms, when I pay to get into certain dinners, when I contribute to certain presidential campaigns, and I'm able to have, if they do a 10,000 per person seat presidential dinner in order to be able to raise money for this or whatever, so on and so forth, right? When you sit at certain events or you get in the room with certain people, you then have the power to influence what happens in society, which then it filters back into your pocket in other ways because you understand how money works. You then get information that allows for you to then be able to capitalize more effectively than regular everyday people that's just trying to day trade and predict the fucking market. When you get to a certain level, you get more concerned with power and influence than you are with just making money, because then you're controlling and you're manipulating what happens in society.
To 171 colleges in 51 countries. That's 10% of all foundations during that time. They also created...
Because I'm actually just giving the facts. Oh, Anton, think this is cool. No, I think that this is the reality. And the only thing that I care about is getting to the truth. This isn't about how I feel. This is about using real life examples and real life people that's being illustrated on this platform in order to inform you so that you can make better decisions. What you do with the information is up to you. The only thing I'm doing is breaking it down from a C student's perspective to help you to understand how the game works. Get out of your feelings. Get out of your feelings and start looking at it objectively so that you can make more informed decisions. Jesus.
Open Society University Network, but he knew one of the ways to influence was to get colleges and universities. And when you give that kind of money, those universities kind of have to listen to what you have to say. Or media. Yep. He's had a lifelong fascination with media. He has connections with more than 30 mainstream news outlets, including New York Times, WAPO, Associated Press, CNN, and ABC. Prominent journalists like ABC's Christiane Amanpour, New York Times executive editor Jill Abramson, and former Post editor and now Vice President Len Downey serve on the boards of operations that take Soros cash. A 2011 estimate indicates that media organizations influenced by Soros have a reach of an estimated 300 million people per month.
If that's not power, I don't know what is. If that's not power, I have no clue what is. A 2011, we're not even in 2023 where media is everything. (2011) estimate says that media organizations influenced by Soros reached an estimated 300 million people per month. Not even 300 million people in general, per month. What is the point of having this conversation? I want you to understand that money and how you see money and how you see power and what happens within our society is more than just what it is that you got up as a money phone on your ear. It's the influence. It's the power plays. It's the network. It's the intention. It's your willingness to then capitalize off of other people's pain or understand what other people's pain is so that you can then influence and then capitalize off of it again. You have to start thinking a little bit objectively in order to understand the game. Otherwise, you're not even a part of it. Then you'll be sitting here having conversations talking about how the system is bringing in migrants and what's being advertised on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News. And then you'll just be thinking like an imbecile and just reading it for what it is instead of understanding who's behind it and why it is that you need to look at things a little bit more objectively so that you can then either capitalize off of it or just become more informed as a result of it. Let me read a couple super chats and then we're going to move on because I got one more thing that I want to share with you guys from a money perspective. Money Mix says, Osiris is from Florida. ATL does not hold this L. They said we not taking that L, big dog. Shout out to you, Money Mix. Silver Lion says we are building our own tragedy. That's largely what happens. That's largely what happens. Because you know what people do? They depend on the federal government actually to fix their problems, which they don't even know that the federal government is just a reflection of the people that put them there. That's a whole nother deep conversation. Let me share one more thing with you guys because I do want to add more value into y'all life. I want to talk about Samsung really quickly. Samsung and their growing chip empire. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's continue with the conversation, y'all.
Samsung is a brand name that's everywhere, in more than 100 million U.S. households. Android phones, TVs, refrigerators, microwaves, and unconventional displays.
So the 13-inch display can be as big as 17-inch. This is the future of display.
But there's a huge, lesser-known side of Samsung that lately has made it one of the world's most important and valuable companies.
A lot of people only look at Samsung, right? And I want y'all to understand this money, right? Because it's easy to talk about the gossip. It's easy to talk about YK Osiris. It's easy to talk about Suki Hana. But then how are you then capitalizing off of the information? And how do you then see what you see happening and playing out in society because you don't truly understand what these companies are doing or what their vested interest is and what's happening in your everyday life? For example, Apple makes their own chips. They moved away from IBM in order to make their own silicon. The M1, the M2, the M2 Pro, and all of this other type of stuff. Reading super chat shortly. Shout out to Brittany. Shout out to Hinofit. I appreciate y'all. There's so many different things that these companies are into. When you think about LinkedIn, do you think about Microsoft? When you're thinking about OneDrive, do you think about Microsoft? When you think about Xbox, do you think about Microsoft? When you think about PlayStation, do you think of Sony? When you think of the cameras that's on the iPhone, do you think of Sony? When you think of chips, do you think of Samsung or do you only think of Android? I want y'all to open up your mind a little bit more so that you can understand what's happening and why these companies have a vested interest and what's going on in society.
It's not just making devices, it's making the chips that power them.
People probably don't know that we've led memory for 3 decades.
Samsung is the leader in memory chips. Think long and short-term data storage.
They are the titan. They have, nearly 50% share in both DRAM and NAND.
And it's the world's second biggest maker of the most advanced logic chips, the kind in Teslas, supercomputers, AI, smartphones, and so much more.
I bet you didn't know that Samsung was really a chip company. You thought that they were a TV company. You thought that they were only focused on Android phones and all of this other type of stuff. You thought that they were only a screen company and that they were focused on TVs. You thought that they were trying to compete with Apple with tablets. I bet you didn't know that Samsung was quite possibly the biggest chip maker in the world. But because you are uninformed, and then you don't really pay attention to what's going on from a financial understanding, or you're not letting it come back to you and understanding where the money is going, you don't do your research. When I dropped the video inside of the Patreon of the 8 things that I look for when I'm looking to invest in a company, the 8 things that I'm looking for when I'm looking to invest in a company, it would take you through this process so that you can better understand who it is running these companies, what they do, what their long-term vision for this company is, and how it is that you can capitalize off of it as a result of it.
We recently went inside Samsung's Austin chip-making factory, or fab, in the first in-depth tour ever given to a U.S. journalist.
And how many chips are you pumping out every day here?
A lot.
Now it's gunning
won't
to
even say
overtake
how many
the
chips that
massive
they pumping
advanced
out.
chip leader, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company.
We do not settle, to be number 2.
It ended 2022 with $245 billion in annual revenue.
In 2022, they ended with $245 billion in revenue. Whew. I mean, they make chips for every single thing that you can think of, from all of the different screens and the different technology that goes inside of your cars, to the computers that you use, to the screens that you're using on your TVs, to the chips that's inside of some of y'all phones, to the refrigerators, y'all smart refrigerators, and every single thing that y'all can think of, they have a hand in it. But here's the other caveat that I want y'all to think about. How much influence do they have in this country, considering that they are a foreign country that then has a hand in everything that's going on inside all across the world? How are they competing, right? When I have a conversation with y'all inside of the Patreon, and for example, I might say something like, hey, let's break down the different companies and the cloud strategies as it relates to Samsung and Apple and Microsoft and Amazon, right? And I'll say, okay, well, Amazon has Amazon Web Services. And Amazon Web Services is much, much different than iCloud or Google Cloud or even OneDrive and Azure, right? And some of y'all may be thinking about it from a job perspective, but I'm thinking about it from an investment perspective. And when you look at it from an investment perspective, you have to say, well, Amazon Web Services cloud strategy is much different than Microsoft cloud strategy, because although they offer a product that allows for you, the consumer, and even these large companies, when you see an outage that goes on in Netflix, it may come as a result of Amazon Web Services because they are one of the biggest customers of Amazon Web Services. And then they use that data and that information and not only power what it is that they got going on at Amazon, but they use analytics to then do predictive behavior of how people are going to spend money from a buying pattern, right? And then you have to compare it and say, okay, well, Microsoft is competing against Amazon because, for example, they were advocating for Microsoft to get these contracts with the federal government in order to, move everything over into the cloud. But Microsoft's cloud strategy is also slightly different, because if you look at what it is that they're doing with Xbox, right? And how you even purchase games. And then buying of LinkedIn, how does that affect the whole strategy? And then moving into the software category and the subscription services, which then starts to filter into what Apple is doing, because Apple is not necessarily offering cloud infrastructure services over to other companies, but they're using it to power what it is that they're doing, from artificial intelligence to Siri to how it is that they're also pushing out services such as Apple Fitness Plus and Apple Arcade and all of this other type of stuff. And, you know, their strategy is much different than Google Cloud, which is trying to take over a little bit of what Amazon Web Services, and they're trying to compete with Azure, but then they're trying to also power their same products in order to continue to push things out to consumers, right? And so when you start to have these conversations, you start to break down how money works and what these different strategies are so that you can make an informed decision as to what company that you want to invest in, because it's not entirely based off of whether or not they're competing with each other on these phones and devices, but they may be working with each other because one is a lot more technologically advanced in one specific segment that they have expertise in than the other, right? PlayStation may be competing with Xbox and Microsoft, and they may be winning in the gaming console wars, but then who suffers? GameStop, right? Because GameStop is now going to have no product to sell to the consumers, which is one of the reasons why they were being shorted during the pandemic in the first place when everybody was staying home. Because the only thing that they had to sell was the consoles. But who else was selling the consoles? Walmart, Best Buy. You have no reason to go into these places because now those are dying business models, because not only are people getting things delivered to their homes, but they no longer have a reason to go into those places. GameStop don't sell games no more. You download them straight over into your console, which is also one of the reasons why cloud infrastructure is so important, because they need you to be able to re-download those games. When you then switch over in your phone, right? If I lose my iPhone and then I go over and get another iPhone, all I got to do is sign in, then everything automatically downloads straight from the cloud. When you talk about backing stuff up, when you talk about YouTube, right? YouTube literally uploads billions and billions and billions of hours worth of content every single day. Where is this information being stored? Why does it cost so much money? And why is YouTube then moving over into shorts instead of continuing to allocate money over into videos and live streams, right? You have to start thinking differently, and then you'll understand where it comes back to the money. When you understand how the money works, then you make more informed decision as to where it is that you invest your money. Sorry, I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but I get passionate about these things when we start talking about the bag.
For context, that's $47 billion more than Microsoft.
Think about it. We laud, I get going with this. We laud Microsoft, and Microsoft is a phenomenal country, largely considered one of the most successful companies of all time. Microsoft has made more billionaires, I believe, than Apple. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that they have, right? Microsoft's revenue in 2022 was $198 billion. Samsung's revenue was $245 billion. That's huge. That's huge. When we talking about money, when we talking about the bag, that's huge.
But since then, prices for memory chips have taken a dive, and they're expected to fall up to 23% more in Q2 2023. In April, Samsung reported dismal earnings for the first quarter of 2023, with profit.
Now, profit and revenue, for those of you that are not familiar, is completely different. Gross versus profit is completely different.
Plunging 95% to its lowest level since 2009. In response, the company cut production of memory chips. But it doubled down on Foundry, the side of its business that makes custom logic chips for outside customers. It's building a $228 billion mega cluster of 5 new fabs in its home country of South Korea, scheduled to come online in 2042. And in the US, where the 52
scheduled to come online in 2042. They're willing to allocate $250 billion in order to invest in what it is that they think is going to be the future of computing to come online in 2042. It's 2023. That's 19 years from now. They're literally investing of what it is that they're going to be making money for in decades. Decades from now. In their home country.
$2 billion Samsung dates back 85 years to 1938, when founder Lee Byung-chul started it as a trading company for exporting fruit, vegetables, and fish in Korea.
His vision for our company to be, eternal, strong, and powerful. So he chose the name Samsung, which literally means 3 stars.
To survive 2 major wars, it diversified into sugar refining, construction, textiles, insurance, retail, and it remains a multifaceted business to this day. Samsung Rising author Jeffrey Kane has been covering the company from Korea and the US for over a decade.
If you had transported yourself back into time 60, 70, or 80 years ago and asked the average person about Samsung, they just shrug their shoulders and say, I guess it's a little grocery store in Korea that no one's really ever heard of.
Samsung Electronics, the division it's known for most, was established in 1969. The first Samsung TV came out in 1972. And just 2 years
Brock.
later,
I'm gonna be
Lee
reading
bought
that shortly.
Hankook Semiconductor in a bold move toward making it the vertically integrated consumer electronic giant it is today.
The Lee family is, you could call it, the most powerful family in South Korea. One of the most powerful families in tech.
Samsung's first U.S. offices opened in New Jersey in 1978. And by 1980, Samsung Semiconductor was born with a fab in Korea. By the early 80s, it was making 64 kilobyte DRAM memory and had a new U.S. office in Silicon.
You know, the interesting thing about this stuff, this is the type of stuff that I watch all the time in my spare time, in addition to animal videos, because I'm always studying companies and I'm always trying to understand what their investment philosophy is and how it is that they lean on things that they've learned in their legacy history to continue to go forward. And the biggest thing that I learned from Samsung when I was studying them, because I was looking at them as a possible, target for investment and things like that. Because something that they did has sparked my interest, especially with regard to the Apple Vision Pro, is that these companies don't wait to be out innovated. They're always reinvesting back into the company. They're always reinvesting back into themselves. They're always making capital investments into what it is that they can do next, even decades ahead of time. Samsung will be around for the next 100 years. They were in textiles. You know what textile is? They will be around for the next 100 years. The only thing they care about is reinvesting back into the company so that they can give value back to the shareholders, which is largely controlled by the family.
Valley. Lee's son took over after his father's death in 1987, and its first mobile phone came a year later. Now, Samsung is the world's biggest smartphone provider, often neck and neck with Apple. Just a decade after making its first memory chip, Samsung gained international notoriety with the world's first 64 megabit DRAM chip in 1992, placing it squarely at first place in memory, where it remains today.
Its presence is so ubiquitous in South Korea that they call their country the Republic of Samsung.
In 1996, Samsung broke ground on its big fab in Austin, and it opened another one there in 2007. It got a new U.S. headquarters building in Silicon Valley in 2015, designed to look like a 3-layer stack of flash memory chips.
This is based on 3 nanometer, which is the most advanced technology we have, and this price is almost same as mid-size car.
Han has been with Samsung for more than 3 decades. While its primary chip manufacturing still happens in South Korea, it of course makes them in Texas as well as China. Besides devices, the biggest part of its revenue, some 57%, comes from memory. But as shoppers cut back amid rising inflation, demand has weakened sharply, especially for memory chips. That comes in the footsteps of a pandemic that involved peaking demand and supply chain disruptions, eventually culminating in a global chip shortage.
It was really painful. When you look at your customers asking, more chips, but there's no way you can provide that, it was so painful.
But the new reality is far less demand. Smaller memory chip makers like SK Hynix and Micron cut production in late 2022. Samsung waited until April 2023 to do the same.
We are now going through very worse slump in terms of semiconductor demand. And we believe that the market will rebound possibly by end of this year.
Micron and SK Hynix started laying off folks. They've cut their spending on new fabs. Samsung is pushing forward though, and they're not cutting back on spending despite it being unprofitable today.
China and the U.S., right, is largely based off of the idea that they're trying to control, which is one of the reasons why there is so much incentive for manufacturers to build factories here in the U.S., which is what the CHIPS Act was on behalf of Biden. There's an incentive and there's a technology war that's brewing that's much, much bigger than what it is that y'all see happening over in Ukraine. It always comes back down to the money. And so Samsung is hedging its bets in that it's always focused on future investment and then future profitability instead of focused on what it is that they're generating right now. And so when you see the stock price and it continues to go up, usually what happens with the stock price is that stock or shareholders or the stock price is usually rewarded by future investment or future opportunity. When you've seen Tesla break out, Tesla had some of its biggest jumps, not when it was actually profitable, right? I would tell you that Toyota, Tesla, Ford Motor Company, and even General Motors are probably generating more profits than they've ever had right now. But Tesla leapfrogged the competition as far as the value of the company because their stock price skyrocketed, not based off of whether or not they were profitable at the time in which they wasn't profitable, but whether or not they were going to be incredibly profitable much later. And so when you've seen them driving the cost out, when you've seen Tesla saying that we're a technology company, usually companies are rewarded based off of their future investment and future profitability and prospects, not based off of what it is that they generate in a day. Shareholders don't reward companies based off of what it is that they're making now. They reward companies based off of where it is that they're going. Okay?
In May, China banned products from U.S. memory chip maker Micron, which in turn could boost demand for Samsung. And Morgan Stanley recently named Samsung a top pick. In October, the U.S. did place big restrictions on chip companies exporting their most advanced tech to China. But for now, Samsung and SK Hynix were given a 1-year waiver to operate their existing chip fabs in China.
The Department of Commerce really crafted these rules to make sure that those existing fabs aren't impacted, but Samsung and SK Hynix don't build new fabs.
When it comes to foundry, Samsung is one of only 3 companies in the world capable of manufacturing the world's most advanced chips, ranking second between TSMC and Intel. And with mounting U.S.-China Taiwan tensions,
who y'all see over there? Who y'all see walking those factory floors, being wooed and paid for and bought by, and their campaigns is being funded by, and all of this other stuff? Who y'all think that is right there? Who over there walking them factory floors, having a conversation with the CEOs and the shareholders and the board of what's going on over there at Samsung? Biden. We might continue this conversation inside of the Discord. The link to the Discord is attached to any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon. I do need to read some of these super chats, and I need to get back to the grind and work because this has been a full show, a dope show, an awesome show. But I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of an insight of how it is that I see things, what you need to be looking for, and how it all comes back down to the money. Shout out to Brittany B says, who in their feelings while we talking about people manipulating your feelings? Shout out to Brittany B. I love you. Hino Fit says, thank you for what you do. I am continually making great life decisions watching your show. I've been collecting bags since joining your tribe, and I'm now in a senior position at my tech job. Shout out to all of the Patreon members and the bag chasers. I absolutely love what it is that y'all doing. If y'all have not joined the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to Hino Fit. Love Life and Travel says this show is the best thing on YouTube, getting us straight through our home stretch to Florida. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate you. Victoria sent me $5. Thank you, Victoria. Brock is in the building, says, I love you, Anton, for real, no pause. I mean that shit. Money talk is what I love. You add so much value daily. Thank you, Brock, and thank you for continuing to rock with me. Pierre Lynn says, as cubic technology advances, mainframe quantum computing will largely remain for business use, while cloud computing handles mostly everything else. IBM's Z16 is the latest example. Shout out to Pierre Lynn. I'm going to have a conversation with you. You got to break that down for us over here in the Bag Chasers. Jeremy says, I inherited a tenant, single mom, who asked me to keep her rent low wearing a loose tank top and boxers. I saw behind her, I saw her son playing the PS5. That's when I became a savage. Money over the box. Money over the box. Shout out to Jeremy H. Listen, y'all. Thank y'all for loving on me, supporting me. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to love on y'all and support y'all back. Hopefully, y'all found a bit of inspiration that came from having these conversations. And I hope that I added value into y'all life every single morning. You know what we do. I do plan on live streaming tonight. That is the plan anyways. So I plan on live streaming tonight on the Anton Daniels channel Thursday night. Make sure y'all tap in and make sure that y'all continue to do the thing that's in your own best interest. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. If you are not a part of the Patreon, that link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. We just don't. We invite y'all into the tribe. We invite y'all to join the Patreon. We invite y'all to subscribe to the channel. And hopefully y'all continue to see value based off of what it is that we do on a daily basis. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. See y'all tonight. Peace.